Charlie Kirk's killer is still at large, which means nothing can be learnt about the motive, the method, or anything. But I'm going to speculate based off evidence. And that evidence is the fact that the killer has yet to be caught, despite presumably a large scale effort. Now, if you look on the thumbnail, you'll see there is a black line and a white line. The black line is from the shooting spot to where Charlie Kirk was. The white line is from there to the car park. Now, I suspect that it is very possible that the killer that had a car parked in that car park and after the shooting quickly rushed to the car, drove off, and if they were smart, went into a different car and then reloaded. But what I think is clear that the fact that they haven't been caught means that this was a well-planned operation. The fact that it was only one shot and it successfully killed Charlie Kirk means this was a well-planned operation. So my theory is that after Cook's failed assassination, I think Cook's failed assassination taught the assassin that they needed to be accurate. So I don't know when they decided to do the assassination. Maybe when Trump became president. Maybe once he got elected. I don't know. But the assassin will have decided to do this assassination before he even, or she, or maybe they're possibly transgender, I don't know, but nothing is known about the assassin. So they will have came up with the plan to assassinate Donald Trump, but I presume they would have determined that was too hard. So maybe they decided to kill someone in his cabinet or someone close to Trump, because that would be easier because Trump's got Secret Service and stuff. And they wanted to send a message. Now, I presume this is a lone wolf attack, and I presume it was months in planning. So, upon coming up with the determination to do an assassination, the next step, well, is to get the skills, which means they would have brought a gun, they would have brought optics, the necessarily equipment to do the assassination. Now, they wanted to get away with it. If they didn't want to get away with it, well, that's pretty easy. Just get a pistol, close range, bang, 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 zero skill. But, again, this is a well-planned operation. So, they got the skills to shoot accurately. Now, they're not super accurately, since they hit his neck instead of his head, apparently. So, yeah. So, why this specific location? It could be that the assassin is from Utah, but maybe they are extremely well planned and picked Utah because they knew Charlie Kirk was going to go there, and that's why I think, and the reason why I think it was Charlie Kirk was because he was close to Trump and he was doing these events at universities in public with no security, which meant that the killer could easily get on top of a roof at relatively close range, and universities have access for people commuting and stuff, which means that escaping would be somewhat easy. So I think they picked Charlie Kirk out of convenience, not out of specific distance of Charlie Kirk. They would have looked at, well-researched everyone close to Trump, their movement, all that sort of stuff, and picked Charlie Kirk because he is close and he is an easy target. So, after picking Charlie Kirk, they would have looked through his schedule or whatnot, and because I don't know how much notice in advance he gave, but this is a planned tour. So the assassin, presumably, may not even be in Utah, but they chose Utah because, possibly for many, convenience to access the location, convenience to find somewhere to hide out to escape, convenience because it was a good location to do the assassination. There could be many reasons. Maybe they researched the competence, the thing of the local police department. I don't quite know, but the killer did a lot of research and they picked Utah. That could be because they are from Utah, or they could be out of state. But Utah was the closest place that Charlie Kirk was going to. So yeah, they picked Utah because Charlie Kirk was an easy target in Utah. So I think with my theorizing, I have determined that Charlie Kirk was killed not because he's a master debater, but because he is master debating in a public area, in a easy to shoot zone. So he was picked because he was easy, not because he's a particularly villainous target or the shooter particularly hated Charlie Kirk. No, I think Charlie Kirk was killed because he was an easy target. And I've noticed that there's a lot of hate for Charlie Kirk. So people celebrate his death. Also, a lot of hate for the left. So they say, or everyone on the left wants to kill you and your family or whatnot. Which I think, I see these people far left, people supporting the death, and the far right people say that the blah blah blah. I see them on the same side. They're filled with hate. To give an example, Star Wars. Anakin Skywalker. His mother was killed by the Sand People. And what did Anakin Skywalker do? He genocided the Sand People. So I'm gonna call these far left. Well, not even necessarily far left. These left people, these right people filled with hate, I'm gonna call them Anakin Skywalkers. For this analogy. So so they're acting like Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars. And that's why I think Star Wars prequels was such a great movie, because George Lucas had philosophical visions of what he wanted to make. A story, it's deep, it's complex, it's educational. Meanwhile, the Disney Star Wars are just terrible. So yeah. But yeah, I think the thing that is important to remember is don't get filled with hate, and don't overreact to this assassination. And that is all.